Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I wish you all a peaceful new year. And may God bless every family. The New Year's greeting echoes gently in the soft spring air, like a heartfelt blessing sent out with sincerity and hope. The atmosphere of Tet is quietly weaving its way into every corner of life, from the porch still damp with traces of spring rain to the small garden behind the house, where the rows of carrots have reached harvest time. She and everyone else bend down, gently pulling each carrot from the soft, rain-soaked soil. Some are large and round, glowing bright orange as if carrying rare sunshine into a rainy day. Others are smaller and slender, needing a slight wiggle before finally leaving the earth. A few come up with just a light touch, bits of wet soil clinging to them, making the whole group burst into laughter at the surprise. Their laughter blends with the soft drizzle, painting a simple yet heartwarming spring scene. Nothing extravagant is needed, just working together, sharing ordinary moments, and that alone is enough to feel a sense of abundance. The baskets slowly fill with carrots, each quick movement of their hands gathering not only the harvest but also the joy of the first days of the year. In the gentle chill of the spring breeze, warmth does not come from sunlight, but from the presence of the people beside you. And in that atmosphere, it becomes easy to believe that the new year will open the door to better, more peaceful days ahead. Elsewhere, amid the busy rhythm of the days leading up to Tet, CEO Hai is also preparing for a journey filled with special meaning. This time, his busyness is no longer about packed meetings or business plans awaiting approval. Instead, it revolves around family and his personal future. He arranges his work, organizes his schedule, and carefully tends to every small detail so he can take Tusan and little Ivy back to his hometown for the holiday. New Year's greeting calls come one after another, filled with the cheerful voices of relatives on the other end. Each wish he receives carries both care and the hope that he will soon settle down in his family life. When the conversation turns to marriage, Hai no longer avoids the topic as he once did. His voice grows deeper but clear and firm. He shares that this year he plans to hold a wedding. It is not a casual remark, but a decision he has seriously considered. And this trip home will be the first time he officially brings his girlfriend to meet his family. In every word one can hear his barely hidden excitement, mixed with steady determination. This is not merely a choice driven by emotion. It is a choice grounded in responsibility and the desire for a lasting commitment. On the road back to his hometown, the car rolls slowly through the light spring rain that drifts like mist. On both sides of the road, rain-soaked trees and houses faintly visible behind a thin veil of fog create a scene that feels both familiar and slightly wistful. Sitting beside Hai, Tusan feels a swirl of emotions. The joy of returning with him to visit his family during such a special time warms her heart. Yet alongside that joy is a nervousness she cannot quite name. She worries about how people will look at her when they learn she has a child from a previous relationship. Will they fully accept her? Or will there be quiet pauses that leave her feeling unsettled? Sensing her silence, Hai gently takes Tusan's hand. He does not speak in flowery words. He simply reassures her calmly that his family is kind and open-minded. He tells her that what matters most to him is the sincerity and genuine love between them. He affirms that he sees Ivy as his own daughter, not out of obligation, but out of a natural affection that has grown day by day. To him, Ivy is not an obstacle, but an inseparable part of the life he has chosen. And he believes that a sweet, innocent child like Ivy will surely touch everyone's heart. His words ease much of Tusan's anxiety. She looks out the window where raindrops continue to fall softly, and her heart gradually calms. In the back seat, little Ivy gazes with bright, curious eyes at the unfamiliar scenery, occasionally asking innocent questions about her father's hometown. The atmosphere in the car becomes lighter. The road ahead is not just a journey home for Tet. It is a path leading into a new chapter of their lives. In that moment, the trip is more than a simple return for a spring reunion. It is a clear step forward in their relationship, a transition from private love to connection with both families. It is the courage to face the unknown and the faith placed in the future ahead. Amid the gentle spring rain that falls like mist, the three of them head toward home, carrying with them the hope that this journey will open the door to beautiful beginnings, so that the plans spoken aloud will soon become reality in a new year filled with love and peace. The car slowly came to a stop in front of the gate of the countryside home, already glowing with lights and filled with cheerful voices. Even from the entrance of the alley, the true spirit of a Tet reunion could be felt. The yard was wide open, people moving in and out busily, the faint scent of incense blending with the rich aroma of food drifting from the kitchen in the back. Nearly 10 banquet tables had been carefully arranged, bowls and chopsticks neatly set, traditional dishes vibrant with color, like a heartfelt welcome from the family to those returning home. Hai stepped out of the car first, his eyes scanning the scene briefly as if to make sure everything was ready. Then he turned back and extended his hand toward Tusan. His grip was not tight, but steady, firm enough for her to feel his support and reassurance. In that moment, with many eyes already looking toward the gate, he did not hesitate. Together, they walked through the familiar entrance and into the yard, where his grandmother and relatives were waiting. Hai's voice was clear and calm, yet laced with pride as he introduced Tusan as his girlfriend in front of everyone. No hesitation, no ambiguity. The way he stood close beside her, the way he held her hand throughout the introduction, felt like a quiet declaration that she was his serious and deliberate choice. The elders' gazes carried brief traces of scrutiny, while the younger relatives looked on with curiosity and excitement. Yet amid the crowd, Tusan remained composed. She gently bowed in greeting to his grandmother and each elder in the family, her voice polite and steady. The Tet gifts she had thoughtfully prepared were handed over one by one, modest, yet tasteful. Questions soon followed, revolving around her work, her life in the city, and her daily business. Tusan did not avoid any of them. She answered slowly and sincerely, speaking about her small business, her busy days, and the steady effort she made to build stability for herself. She neither exaggerated nor diminished her own worth. Just simple, honest sharing that reflected who she truly was. Then the question about Ivy came, as naturally as it was inevitable. Some glanced toward the little girl standing shyly behind her mother. Others gently asked about her age and her relationship to Tusan. The air seemed to slow for a brief few seconds, but Tusan did not falter. She smiled softly, her eyes tender as she looked down at her daughter, and stated calmly that Ivy was her daughter, 2 years old this year. There was no avoidance, no justification, only honesty and confidence. Her words were spoken gently yet firmly, as though she had long prepared herself for this moment. She did not feel the need for lengthy explanations, nor did she try to defend her past. To her daughter had never been something to hide. The love in her eyes as she looked at Ivy was unmistakable, enough for anyone to feel the sacred bond of a mother's devotion. Hai stood beside her without interrupting, yet his presence was a clear show of support. His expression remained calm, without the slightest hint of discomfort, as if to affirm that what Tusan had shared was something he fully understood and respected. That quiet harmony between them gradually eased the tension in the air. Little Ivy, with the natural innocence of a child, soon drew attention in her own special way. A few older cousins approached, crouching down to talk to her and inviting her to play. Someone called her over to see paper fireworks. Another led her toward a corner of the yard where the children had gathered. At first, Ivy clung shyly to the hem of her mother's dress. But after a few gentle words, her bright laughter rang out across the yard. The sound of children chasing one another, calling out playfully, giggling together, blended with the steady hum of adult conversation, making the space feel even warmer. The banquet tables waiting for the family gathering seemed more alive with that joyful noise. Outside, the spring rain continued to fall lightly, But within the yard, the warmth of reunion chased away the chill. Tusan watched her daughter blend into the group of children, and her heart gradually felt lighter. She realized that what mattered most was not the first glances, but how she chose to face them. Sincerity might not immediately change everyone's perspective, but it lays the foundation for understanding. And today, in the lively Tet atmosphere, she had chosen to step forward with her own truth. The moment the car stopped in front of the house full of relatives marked the beginning of a new test. Yet it was her composure, honesty, and self-respect that allowed Tusan to stand firm. No longer the nervousness she felt on the road, but a steady presence within his family, where their story was slowly continuing to unfold, step by step, in the laughter of children and the warmth of the first days of spring. During the first meal of the new year, once everyone had taken their seats around the tables filled with traditional dishes, the atmosphere became livelier than ever. New Year's wishes echoed throughout the house, glasses gently clinked together, creating cheerful sounds that blended with endless laughter and conversation. Some asked about one another's health, others discussed business plans, while a few reminisced about memories from the past year. Amid the interwoven conversations, Hai sat upright, his gaze calm yet carrying a quiet determination. As the topic gradually shifted to plans for the new year, he took the initiative to speak. It was not a casual remark, nor a vague answer meant merely to please everyone. Once again, he mentioned his plan to hold a wedding this year. His voice was steady, unhurried, and every word reflected sincerity. He expressed his hope to receive his family's blessing and wished that when the joyful day arrived, relatives would come to celebrate, witness, and support his decision. Many eyes turned toward him, then toward Tusan. But this time there was no longer the initial scrutiny, only attentive listening. Hai did not avoid any gaze. He affirmed that organizing a wedding was not just a formality, but a way to demonstrate responsibility to the woman he loved, and to the child who was gradually becoming an inseparable part of his life. His words were not lengthy, yet they were enough for everyone to understand that this was not a fleeting romance. It was no longer polite conversation. It was a promise made before family. At a table surrounded by relatives, among elders he deeply respected, that promise carried a different weight. It was not only for Tusan sitting beside him, but a public commitment before the entire family. When he invited everyone to attend and share in the happiness of his future wedding, it was his way of placing this relationship in an official and honorable position, without concealment, without hesitation. Sitting beside him, Tusan gently tightened her hands over the fabric of her dress, her heart swelling with emotion she could hardly name. She had not expected that moment to come so naturally, in the middle of a reunion meal, not in a private romantic setting, but amid family laughter and New Year's blessings. She felt the seriousness in Hai's gaze, the steadiness in his voice, and it was that very firmness that gradually brought peace to her heart. Tet is not only about reunion, it is also about recognition. It is the transition from love to lasting commitment. In that moment, their relationship was no longer just a story between two people. It had been placed within a wider space, the space of family, tradition, acceptance, and blessing. Glasses were raised, wishes were exchanged, and everything felt like a silent agreement that a new chapter was beginning. Little Ivy sat nearby, her older cousins placing food onto her plate, occasionally bursting into laughter at the adult stories. A child's innocence added warmth to the meal. Tusan looked at her daughter, then at Hai, and understood that today's decision did not concern only herself. It was about the future of the three of them, a future being built step by step, beginning with this honesty and openness. The video closes on a simple yet distinctly spring-like scene. Outside, the spring rain continues to drift softly, fine droplets falling like mist onto the old tiled roof, creating a gentle rhythmic sound. Inside the house, warmth spreads from the teapot set at the center of the table. The adults gather in conversation, Children run back and forth, laughter and playful calls echo naturally and familiarly. Nothing extravagant, just ordinary moments filled with deep meaning. Tusan has officially stepped into Hai's family with sincerity. No hiding, no avoidance, only honesty and the love she carries for her daughter. And Hai has not merely brought his girlfriend home to meet his relatives. He is steadily building a home of his own. A home grounded in companionship, responsibility, and love placed in its rightful place. A home that will include him, Tusan, and little Ivy. A simple tet, yet enough to open the door to a new future. Amid the soft sound of spring rain and the laughter of reunion, their journey has turned to a new page, slowly, firmly, and filled with hope for the days ahead.
Sẽ là một cái thumbnail thật là đẹp, sau đó đăng tải lên. Cảm ơn mọi người rất là nhiều vì đã theo dõi video hôm nay nhé. Cảm ơn mọi người, hẹn gặp lại mọi người trong những video tiếp theo. Tạm biệt mọi người, nhớ đón xem những video tiếp theo ở trên kênh mình nhé. Bye bye.